Are we back? Fuck yeah, man. Sorry. So yesterday I tried to record, but I don't know what's going on. Use earpieces every single time I actually I think anytime they run out of battery, they don't really connect anymore, and I have to restart the laptop or something. I have no idea. I'll figure it out. But anyways, welcome to today. So today is two separate stories. One is my adventures to south of Lebanon, where people are being bombed. Yes, I went there for 3 days. I'll tell you what I did. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna hide anything. But the experience is not a war experience. The experience that I got that I wanted was to just see what the day-to-day life of people that are affected by the crap that's happening and how they sustain themselves, exist, prepare for shit. I have no idea. And what are the things that are closest to the forefront of their minds. And so, without further ado, I'm going to announce one of my many mini series, which are off script adventures. Nobody's excited. What the fuck? Yeah. So, in case you don't know, or you're not yet familiar, or let's just face it, man, not a lot of people kind of watch my videos. But what they do is the people that do, oof, fuck man, tingly sensation. It's reminded me of a note I have to write. But anyways, so the beauty of off-script adventures is basically, I think that what comes to me or what happens when I kind of accept whatever's in front of me. So a friend of mine came from Ivory Coast. I worked in Liberia, which is right next to Ivory Coast, and I met him one time, and we developed some form of decent, good relationships, good communication. Beautiful person. And so he came to Lebanon to visit after 2 years, and I'm like, fuck yeah, man. What are you doing? We hung out a couple of times in Beirut, the city where I exist, and then he's like, I'm in the village this week. Do you want to come? And I'm like, fuck yeah. And he goes like, but this, and this is happening. He's like, so what? And if you're there and nothing's happening to you, then why the fuck wouldn't I want to go there, right? In my head, I don't really think it's camaraderie. I don't know if it's an arrogant thing or not, but it's kind of if you're surviving that shit. And I read it in a book actually. That was a book that described what was the book about? I think it was one of Malcolm Gladwell's books. I don't know if it's Talking to Change, the Strangers, or Tipping Point. But in the book, he describes basically the people that kind of in London that kept being bombed, and the goal behind the Nazis bombing was supposed to demotivate them. But what happened was it kind of created the whole "I survived the bombing" kind of that camaraderie. But anyway, so I really wanted to go, and I went there, and guess what I did? I fucking chilled with his aunts, chilled with his dad. I picked fruits. We actually drove through empty villages. And listen to me, the south of Lebanon, because of the consistent turmoil that's always been there. People are born there. When they grow up to a certain age, they fuck off. And they travel to Africa, Europe, America in hopes of finding a better life. But what happens after 20, 30 years of them working? What they do is they come back to Lebanon, they buy a piece of land, and they build a house there. So I am walking, or I'm driving on a beautiful road, one of the most beautiful roads in Lebanon. And we're driving through houses and villas, not houses, villas and villas. And some villas are literally like half a hill because these people literally left at a young age because of the wars and crap and started working for so long they just wanted to build something nice for themselves in the village they grew up in and all that beautiful stuff. And empty roads, not one fucking car. You don't get it, not one fucking car for 30 minutes straight. And every basically, it's just beautiful, hill type. I don't know, if you were to imagine like driving through the hills of Spain, or driving through, let's just say, the if I were to choose somewhere in the States, I'd probably kind of like say not close to Beverly Hills. Let's just say just driving across country, but like not south, but like a bit below the north. Because over there, they're like, I don't know, the roads are kind of like beautifully swervy and there are a lot of trees. And so I want you to imagine 30 minutes of that, seeing a whole lot of beautiful houses, but not really seeing one car, right? Any 30-minute distance, there's like literally every 100 meters a villa. Like it's literally like 2 acres per a house every 2 acres. There's empty spaces, yeah, but like 5,000 to 10,000 fucking houses emptied out, and these are the ones directly on the road. Not one car. And we drove to see my friend's mom's old house so we can pick some fruit. And that's what we did for 4 hours straight. Because she was worried the fruit will drop and then she wouldn't have any to give to her neighbors. And because for them, that's basically like the resource, earth, right? God gave them those lands. Like they had them before. She can't live there anymore. And she told me a lot of stories back in the day when the invasion first happened and the people from south of Lebanon came up south, up north, their north, our south, and they kind of conquered a bit of the area. And she told me how they resisted. It's just like a beautiful kind of like story that kept the rhythm has always been the same. And the rhythm is we have to do what we have to do so that the next day we're able to do what we have to do again. So fucking beautiful. All these stories from his father telling me how he left Lebanon at 16 thinking he was going to America. And he ended up basically, he found himself in well, first he found himself in Libya, and then from there he went to Cote d'Ivoire. Like he realized he's stuck in Africa. And then the next time they're like, we're going to America, and they kind of like took him to Ivory Coast. It's just a whole lot of like adventures, like mini adventures of random people that kind of like did stuff on their own. But it's a perspective. It's a southern perspective on the world. And over the course of 3 days, all their conversations literally were around how long will this peace last? Is it peace? When are we gonna get bombed? Should we stay? Should we go? Should we go to a different place? Should we leave the country? It's very debilitating, man. But there's no answer to that stuff, right? It's like, a whole lot of random shit has been happening. A lot of Lebanese people are being targeted left and right. Lebanese, Syrian, Palestinian, even fucking like Persian. I'm not being political here. I'm just telling you what's going on. Even like areas close to me have been bombed recently. So I don't consider that shit. And one of the things that I say is just like, and I said it like we were having a conversation, me and my friend, when we were coming back, because when we got back to Beirut, when we got back to his house after going deep south to her village, to his mom's village, we got back deep south, and the same day in the afternoon we heard that the place where we stopped to have coffee, because there was only one coffee shop there. And it's funny because there was only one coffee shop that was open. There were like three in like one area. And apparently that's where people hang out. And one of the people hanging out was basically a target. So apparently it got bombed. I don't know if the guy survived or not, but anyways, it got bombed. And then on our way back, we were starting to discuss this. We were like, fuck, man, we were there, but we were in discussing it in stressful situations. We were like, yeah, but like, I don't know if the timing was correct for us or any of that shit. But by the time we actually got to a different part of the actual of like our journey, like let's just say halfway to Beirut, we actually like receive information that another part of our journey where we were kind of like crossing got bombed and we had just passed it an hour ago. And so I smiled and I looked at him and he goes like, and he looks at me and he gives me that straight face. He's like, we're not even worthy of a rocket, man. Don't worry about it. The reason we survived is because we're not worthy of the attention of the people that are basically killing others. It was fun because like normally I don't know. I always really like if I've survived many bombings in Beirut. Not survived as in nobody tried to kill me, but like for 3 years in 2005, 2004, 2007, had bombings all over the place. Every 2 weeks, sometimes on the dot, like every 2 weeks, an explosion that kills like 50 to 100 people. It's been normalized. And I realized a lot of my tension leaving Lebanon was escape. And right now, after the whole shebang that happened to me over like 12 years, 13 years of me attempting to not be here, I don't care about this shit. This is how things are. This is how they always are. But it was beautiful for me to be able to see it from a perspective of a different culture, because the south of Lebanon is a completely different culture than the north, completely different culture than Beirut, completely different culture from And overall, what a fucking experience, man. I'm telling you. 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, we were picking figs and going for wild berries. And every 20 minutes you'd hear like the actual, what do they call it when Mach 1 is breached, when the actual fighter pilots kind of breach the sound barrier, it goes like, and we were just hearing that as like the rhythm of the day. I love you guys. I made it, and today I went on a different adventure. I'm going to talk about it in the next video. Love you. It's a video.